Hey cruisers, welcome back to part 2 of hubby's What's in My Camera Bag live edition. So if you didn't watch part 1, I want to just give you a big disclaimer that you should go back and check that one out because we showed all of the details of what was inside hubby's gear and tech bag for a cruise. So we're not going to revisit every single item this time, but instead we're going to address the big question that we kind of left hanging at the end of last live stream, which was, can hubby convert over to this new GoPro backpack, which has very long straps? This is a new GoPro backpack that he invested in, and it's a little bit smaller than his Manfrotto backpack, which is right here. So the goal was to try to consolidate and shrink the supplies down to fit into this little beauty. So Mr. Cruise Tips TV will be doing a lot of the talking today. He's going to be answering your questions. He's going to be answering some questions from me. And this is an all tech and gear episode. So if you have any questions about stuff like that, don't drop your mic for starters. And don't hesitate to let us know. This is what happens when I attach my mic to the outside of my clothing. As you can see, I have the whole string hanging out, and it just got caught on something that I was handling, so that's bad. Normally what I do is I feed it up through my shirt, and it comes out through my collar so that I can't trip over it. So now I have to get it back onto my shirt.
I can jump in and fill while you go ahead and put that back on. Yeah. So let's take a look at some of the things that I took, and then we can talk about what decision I made with the Manfrotto versus the GoPro. Here's a few of the things that I took. Obviously, we're not going to get into all the batteries and the SD cards and stuff like that. But it really came down to basically 4 decisions. And the number 1 decision was, can I get everything into the GoPro Seeker? I really like the bag. It has some very cool features. There's some built-in mounts or some built-in straps that are perfect for like the selfie sticks and for the GoPro itself. It mounts right onto the straps. There's compartments for easy access to take up to 3 GoPros right in the top. But from there, it kind of falls apart. It's just, from there, it's just basically an open bag, and there's no dividers or anything like that. Can you show them real
I was
quick?
going to ask you. I'm sorry about that. I wasn't sure if you wanted me. Do you want me to hold it up for this camera or camera 2?
Let's go ahead and show them on, well, hold it up on this one for now, and
okay.
I'll switch back over, okay?
Yes.
The main camera, you can see that it's a nice-looking backpack. And it's got a lot of mounts. Let's go ahead and go to the next camera.
These are the mounts,
and then you can show the mounts if you can squeeze them in there.
Yes, I can. Okay, how's that?
Down? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. It's okay. It's fine.
I'll put it back over
you know
here.
what? I'm just gonna jump in and say no. I couldn't do it. I just could not get the same kind of functionality out of the GoPro Seeker that I can out of the Manfrotto. And so I tried 3 different times to try and fit everything in, and I just couldn't make it happen. So the GoPro bag is not going. One of the main things is this time I'm taking my laptop, and it's not a big laptop. It's a 15-inch MacBook. But it just is too tight in this Seeker. The Seeker says it's supposed to be able to handle a 15-inch laptop, and I can get the laptop in there, but it is just way too tight. And if I started throwing cameras in there and other gear, it would be just way too much.
I'll show them the laptop hole that you showed me. This is the laptop compartment for the 15-inch laptop, and as you can see, it's really tight. It's just not going to happen. And do you want me to show them the other compartments you showed me earlier?
It's kind of up to you. I don't know how much time we want to spend on something I'm not taking, but I really like this backpack, and I wanted to make it work, but it just couldn't.
So the open compartment on this backpack just isn't really big, and it doesn't have any supports in it. So what Mr. Cruise Tips TV normally does is he puts his DSLR in the main compartments, and they have some sort of a foam divider or a support area, and this one just didn't offer that. It's a really beautiful backpack, but the main inside compartment was just not big enough. So he's used to having something more like, you can see the main compartment of this one, which we showed off before. Just the top compartment alone is really huge. And then in the bottom area, there's this super large compartmentalized soft padded area to put lenses and the DSLRs and the more fragile cameras. And so it just didn't work out. I mean, it kind of makes sense though, because it's a GoPro. It's designed for GoPro equipment.
That's true, and like I said, I really like the bag, but for the way I use my bag now and what I've gotten used to, it's so hard to beat the Manfrotto. I looked high and low for something liked the Manfrotto for such a long time, and so it has been meeting my needs. And I just, the GoPro bag caught my eye, and I thought a lot of the features were really cool. But it's just not going to work out. And I'm going to try and do a couple of things. Like if you hold up the Manfrotto again, you can see that I've added my own GoPro to the strap turner around to the other side. There's, if you can point it out, see this, the mount? Yeah. So you can buy those separately, and I'm just going to do a couple of those, and then I'll maybe try to get creative with Velcro or something like that. But so the bottom line is the GoPro bag is not going to go.
Does that mean we get to go Velcro shopping at Michael's? Velcro shopping at Michael's. Wait, did I just do that on air?
Velcro.
Velcro's fun to go shopping for.
Let's just go ahead and get through these things really quick, and then we can do like an open question and answer. I'm not able to watch the chat while I'm doing all this, and I feel like I'm missing a lot of questions.
Can I say something? Can I answer something that's just, I'm afraid I'm going to lose it? Okay. Somebody said, I love that bag. I wish it was half the size. Wheezy B. They have the Manfrotto in a small. In our store, in Amazon.com/shop/CruiseTibsTV, there's a large Manfrotto and a small Manfrotto. The small Manfrotto might meet your needs. So I just wanted to get that out there. And then, yes, honey, are you going to camera 2 now? I feel like Vanna. Like I get to go like this.
No, I can go to camera 2, but you know what? Let's just address the next thing. Basically, like I said, if I meant to say it, I don't know if I did, but it came down to 4 different things, or 4 things that were going to be different. And the first one was the bag. You know, I was going to try and get everything into that bag. And the next one was my gimbals. Now, if you don't know what a gimbal is, but it's basically a stabilizer, so you get stable footage. And I have been relying on, you know, just a steady hand. And the Karma grip is what Sherry is showing you right now. And that's specifically and only for GoPros. And I love it. It's not without its faults, but you put the GoPro on, you turn it on, and generally speaking, it works. There's no balancing. What she's showing you now is the Feiyu, it's the Feiyu Tech G6 Plus. And the reason I'm considering this is because it's supposed to work with the GoPro, with small form factor cameras, and even iPhones. So the idea here is that I'd take one gimbal and be able to use it on basically all my cameras. The downside with something like this, though, is it has to be balanced. And I can't get into, you know, how you balance gimbals and stuff like that, but there's quite a bit of time, and it can be frustrating because, you know, you have to get the balance right for the weight of whatever camera you're trying to put on it.
Yeah.
So this is a really good gimbal. I've tested it out, and I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm either going to take this and the Karma, or just this.
Yeah.
It's, as you can see though, it's going to add a lot of bulk.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger.
But
you see the difference.
I think it might be worth it.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and switch to, if you can hold that up in front of camera 2.
Sure. This one?
Yeah, there you go. You can get a good look at that. Okay. I guess we can move on to the next question. Like I said, maybe you can watch some of the chat and.
Sure, happy to. So lots to talk about camera bags in the chat I've been noticing right now, and I wanted to let you guys know that oftentimes at this time of year, Costco sells really great camera bags. Somebody in the chat had mentioned they wanted a low pro bag. Costco sells low pro and Manfrotto. They sell very high-end camera bags for excellent prices. I do recommend that you take a look at that.
The great deals there. The only issue with Costco is you basically get one choice. It's like you can't go in and look at a whole bunch of different Manfrotto bags. It's one bag. But generally speaking, you can get some very good deals.
It's true, and their return policy at Costco is absolutely amazing. We shop a lot at Costco for things like tech accessories, SD cards, and you always hear me saying that if you're going to buy a GoPro, Costco can be a really good place to buy a GoPro. A lot of times they'll bundle them a little bit. Obviously, they're price controlled, so you're not going to get a whole lot of, you know, a whole lot of extra stuff in there for a great price, but it definitely helps. Thank you, Susanna. Yes, I'm enjoying being Vanna. Let's see. Okay, so Tony, honey, has said, I've been able to balance the GoPro phone G7X and Canon M50 with a small lens on the G6 Plus. Once I added the Rode Micro to the M50, it was too heavy.
Yeah, for me, it's not a question of being able to balance them. I've been working with these types of gimbals forever. It's, do I want to fiddle with it? Do I want to spend the time? Patients do not run, you know,
in our family.
high. So if you start fiddling with things too much, then, you know, by the time you get it all figured out, it's like, no, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, we have to be careful with time drains like that when we're vlogging too, because we have to minimize things that make us grumpy and not enjoy our vacation, and balancing things is always one of those things.
Well, balancing
you miss out on the moment
on more than one level too, because you have to balance the fact that it's, you know, we have a little bit of work there and we're also on vacation, so you have to have a good time. So you got to balance the gimbal and balance your time. Yeah.
I like something that Chuck just said. He said GoPro 7 pretty much eliminates the need for a gimbal now, and Chuck, I'm not the techie in the family, but we have the GoPro 7 and my husband's been experimenting with it, and man, it has amazing features, huh?
Yeah, that's a true story. Now, the key word is almost. It is very good, and I'm going to rely heavily on that. The only downside with the 7 in my personal experience, and by the way, disclaimer here, everything I say about the camera gear, it's just my opinion. I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional photographer or anything like that, so you're going to get my opinion. But what I've noticed with the 7 and the 6 to a lesser extent is when you have the stabilization on, once you go into a low light situation, and I just mean like, you know, lights inside of a house or a ship in this case, the quality of the footage tends to break down quite a bit. Now outside, it's not the same, but inside or in low light, if you're using the stabilization on the 7 and the 6, you're going to see it. It looks smudgy.
Is that what Tony was just saying? He said the hyper smooth is great, but when you pan, it is jumpy.
No, that's a little different.
Okay, I'm not good at this stuff. Just don't listen to me. Okay, Becky says, I have a Hero 6 and a Samsung 9. Is there anything else I should take? I have a lot, but I'm not sure what's absolutely necessary. I mean, usually we tell people to minimize. What we'd like to see you pack, Becky, and let's see if my answer is the same as my husband's. I'd like to see you pack lots of memory, extra batteries for the things that you love, keep the lenses really clean, right? And just use what you've got. But what do you think? What do you think Becky needs in addition to that? Because your phone is your best friend.
Yeah, I would take whatever you're comfortable with, whatever it is, if it feels good to you and you don't have to fiddle with it. Let's go ahead and throw that out there. The more time you're fiddling, the more frustrated you get, and you're going to lose a shot. It's better, not perfect shot than missing it altogether because you're trying to fiddle with something. But, I would add to that, make sure that you take some kind of charger, and if you can spare the space, some way to back it up.
Chris said, someone needs a little help. Boyfriend has an iPhone and needs help transferring photos during the cruise. Any suggestions? Do you want to switch to camera 2 for that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. There's way more out there now for that type of thing than there used to be. I usually recommend that if you're not taking a laptop or something like that, I recommend the HooToo. I don't think I think it's in the bag.
This is the HooToo.
No, that's a different HooToo. Let me see if I can pull it out of the bag. Okay. Hold on, okay?
Sure,
no problem. Go ahead and fill this space.
Okay, no problem. I'll fill the space. What I'm going to go ahead and say is, if I've missed your question, retype it real quick because I'm down at living in the bottom of the, are you okay? Of the chat right now. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Elaine, we're going to get to your question. Transferring those images from a phone to the tablet. Is there a cable that people normally use just to plug it in? Is this the cable? We're going to show you, Elaine.
Three options.
Okay, 3 different options. So here, and do you want to switch to camera 2, hun?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to the tight camera. Just 1 second, guys. Okay. There we go. You want to talk about this one first?
I think that, the white ones are Apple products. And so if you're trying to get something off the phone, or off your SD card onto your phone or vice versa, you're going to want one of the Apple ones. Now, if you just want to be able to transfer it to a temporary storage, the silver one in the middle is a HooToo flash drive. It's in our shop.
It is a flash drive. Do you want me to open it?
Yeah, but it's a great temporary storage, and you can actually, one side is a lightning port and the other side is USB. So it's a great intermediary.
And we have these in the shop, right?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. I've asked everybody to retype their questions down at the bottom. Do you want to look at your notes and see if there's anything else you wanted to address?
Yeah, and speaking of the HooToo and the one that you picked up, that was another thing that came up. These are both, oh, no, not that one. The
this
red
HooToo.
one, yeah, and then the RAV Power right next to it.
Yep, the RAV Power.
Go ahead and hold it. You're holding it. Let me switch over.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yay! Vanna. I love being Vanna.
Okay, these both essentially do the same things. They're multi-purpose. So they're travel router. They also do charging, so you can charge your phone or your camera with them. And they also transfer files. That's another way that you can transfer files off your phone onto something else. And I'm not going to take the red one, the TripMate Titan. I've decided on the RAV Power for the simple fact that there's a built-in SD card reader right on the RAV Power, and there isn't on the HooToo. So maybe you can point that out. It's on the top of the black one. There you go. You see that? There's a built-in. So that's it. Other than that, they're essentially the same.
Turtle Frog has a question. Turtle Frog wants some tips on stabilizing video from phone. I mean, I can give you a physical tip that we learned in our wedding filming days, and that is to lock your arms at your side, bend your knees, and move. Are you laughing at me? And move with your body like this. You don't want your hands out here and able to move. So if you lock your hands in and you bend your knees and you move from your waist, kind of panning like that, it really enormously helps. Another tip that we have for you, and this is from a total rookie. I do a lot of filming, but I am not that good at it. Go slow. You can never, ever, ever pan too slowly, zoom too slowly. You can fix all of that stuff later, but you can't fix something that's too fast. So lock those arms in, go slow. You just really don't, you want to be really careful. Now, another thing you have to be careful about though is your breathing when you're in this position, because you can kind of start doing that and then your camera moves. So you have to really like lock it in and just be really super aware of your body movements and how it affects it. But what are your tips for stabilizing, honey?
Those are good. I would add to the fact that you try and move your body and not your, you hold it with both hands. Try to move your body, not your hands or your arms. If possible, move your body. And also it helps if it can also be cumbersome, but it helps if you have some kind of handle. So if you don't mind putting an extra handle on there, it does help stabilize things. Even something like the bobber there, something like that. Yeah,
these are great too if you're using a GoPro, but any kind of a stabilizer is good, but don't go too fancy with your stabilizer. Get the most simple thing you can find. Happy Pappy says, how many hours of video will the black one take? I think he or she is talking about the RAV Power. How many hours of video?
Well, neither of these have built-in storage, so it'll take, what you do is you hook up an external hard drive, or you hook it up to your computer, whatever you have with you, whatever storage device you have with you, even a thumb drive. So you could just take thumb drives, plug the thumb drives into either one of those devices, and it would take in, as big as that thumb drive is. I usually have about 64 gigs, but this time I'm taking terabyte drives with me because we're going to be gone so long. So I'll be plugging a terabyte drive into one of these things, so that should last plenty. Okay,
now we need to help Elaine. Elaine, who's like me, is saying, okay, but I don't know how to use this stuff. Like, she doesn't know how to transfer the photos. Could you give her 4 steps on how to transfer the photos from the phone to the computer at the end of the day? Plug it in, open a software, what should she do?
Well, it really depends on your operating system, but if you're transferring things from the phone to the computer, is that what you said? If you have a Mac and you're using an iPhone, you're probably just going to want to use a lightning cable, even though you could use something like the Air Drive or whatever they call that. It just takes too long. I'd plug in your cable and it will pop something up. Okay, Elaine, listen to this. Okay. And honestly, Windows kind of does the same thing. These days they try to do everything for you. Now, if you're like me, you fight all that stuff because you have a certain way you want to do things. Yeah. But you just take the camera, plug one end of your, in anything but iPhone, it's going to be like a micro USB. You plug one end into into the camera,
and then
into
there'll be
the
a
phone.
pop-up.
Yeah, and there'll be a pop-up, and you can, if you want, you can drag and drop, or you can just do a select all and copy and paste. And,
Okay, cool.
you know, there's so many different workflows out there. It's kind of hard to drill in on what's going to work best for you. But keep in mind that all modern operating systems now want to hold your hand with that kind of stuff.
Okay, good. Elaine, that's what I would want to know too, because I don't do any of that stuff, so it's okay. And I hope that helped you a little bit. I saw Susanna saying that you went to look at the iPhone XS this weekend. It looked amazing. You're going from a 7 Plus to an XS. If you're using your XS for photo, you're going to be blown away. It's absolutely spectacular, and you're definitely going to love the portrait mode. Okay, let's answer some more questions here. Lalita Locus says, Mr. CTTV, what is your workflow for your footage? Daily backup of SD cards, more than one backup. What you got?
I'd like to say that, yeah, at the end of every day, I religiously back things up to a hard drive, but the reality is I don't. I try to when I have time. Usually I end up backing things up maybe, you know, on a 7-day cruise, maybe 3 times.
Okay.
So, and it also depends on what I've got. If we took somebody else's time, say we interviewed the crew or something like that, as soon as I get back to the room, I'm backing it up and I'm putting it in the, you know, in the vault, literally in the vault, and I'm not going to touch it.
It stresses him out. He wants that footage off of that camera and into a safe place. It's a different level of pressure.
Yeah, if it's just our stuff, I'm not as concerned. You know, obviously I want to take care of it. But when we take the time to interview somebody else, that's like gold to me, and I immediately back it up. But anyway, to answer your question, I would say probably you know, every other day at the most, and I back it up to a physical hard drive.
Another tip for people like me who are rookie techie peoples is to sync if you use an iPhone or any phone for that matter, sync up to Google Photos. Google Photos is an awesome app that you can download to your phone, and it connects to your Google Drive. And I have it syncing to my phone so that constantly any video or any photo that I put in here syncs. Now there's a problem with that when you're on a cruise because you're not always connected to Wi-Fi, but it's still good. Natasha was saying she sometimes even emails herself her photos. She said old school, but whatever works. Yes, whatever works for you, whatever is at your ability level, Natasha, you have to work at that level. Susanna said, what is the best editing software for a beginner? And I'm gonna put my vote in and say iMovie. But if you don't have a Mac, you have to do that on your phone.
Yeah, it depends on your platform. And honestly, now there has never been a better time to start doing this type of thing because you have so many, I mean, I'm going to say easy relative to how it used to be. Easy options and free options just to find out if, you know, it's something you want to do. A lot of people, they think, oh, this is going to be a lot of fun, and they get into it and, this is too much like work. But I would say if you're using a Mac, definitely start off with iMovie. Otherwise, you know, look for something free. You just don't have to pay these days to get in and see what you like. Now, you may decide later that the free one is kind of running out of your skill level or you're outgrowing it. Yeah. And then you can move into the paid thing. I would say if you're on the Windows or on Windows, look at Blackmagic Resolve. That's free, and it's a full-featured free version too. It's super full featured. Cool. Or Hit Films, both free options. And again, on Mac, you know, look at iMovie. It's an easy transition from iMovie to Final Cut. Yeah. So it just depends on where you're coming from. Cool.
Good advice. Those are all really practical and easy tips. Thank you, sweetheart. Joe is kind of saying what Mr. Cruise Tips TV was saying. She said, I plug my Samsung Galaxy 5 into my PC and it pretty much uploads the photos without me doing anything. So Elaine, definitely know that that's probably going to be the case for you as well. I know that we had a few more questions coming in. Busy Mama Piranha, what is a good first camera that would take good pictures? Okay, so this is a question we get a lot and we actually can't answer this for you. Busy Mama, because I don't know your budget, but I would like to recommend that you go to a place like Best Buy or Costco, and I want you to pick up the camera, I want you to use it, take pictures, get a good feel, and find something in your budget that works for you. We really like Sonys, we also like Nikons, they're great, but it depends on how much you want to spend. Really, truly does. Honestly though, if you have an iPhone or a newer Android, you might be able to take some incredible incredible photos with your phone. So don't overthink it, don't overspend. Just get something that you're gonna grab and you're gonna use. Okay, D Walker, the phone clip in the store, you can't find it. This is not available in our store. If you're talking about the one that's on my hand, this is Loopy Case. Just go to loopycases.com. They're having a Black Friday sale right now, like 20% off. Jennifer, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Okay, we're gonna get some more questions answered here. Bear with me, guys. I need, my eyes are going a little bit. I'm having a little bit of a hard time seeing the chat today. Okay, let's see here. Oh, what a great question, Turtle Frog. What is the best camera for kid? You know what's, I would actually say an older version of a GoPro is a great one. If your child doesn't need a lot of audio, if you're just gonna give them a camera to go out and shoot with, they're pretty bang up proof, they're pretty goof proof, they don't have a lot of buttons on them, but the audio on GoPros is pretty terrible.
Yeah, you know what, I would jump in and say that probably an old phone is gonna be a better option because the GoPros can be a little difficult. Now kids, they learn so fast, but the buttons on some of the older GoPros are super stiff. For kids, and they may not even be able, especially if you're using something with a waterproof housing, they may not even be able to push the button.
If they're little.
Look for an old phone or a cheaper, like a model, like right now the latest Sony out there is the RX100, or one of them, RX100 Mark VI. Buy like a Mark IV or a Mark V, and you can get them for, you know, probably half price. If it's something your child or kid is really thinking they want to get into, that might be a good look at, you know, a model that's a couple of years old. But for us, I mean, our son is working with the iPhone, and really that's so easy and so, you know, kid-proof, right? Yeah, it's super kid-friendly, and again, it's like it's what we keep saying: use what you're going to grab, use what you're going to use. Okay. Joe Ellen said, Mr. Cruise Tube TV, could you put the names of those editing sites in the comments, please? Let's see here. Somebody out there mentioned Filmora out there. I have seen that, and it does look like a pretty good option. I wouldn't say it's as full-featured as something like Resolve or iMovie, though. Okay. But whatever you look at, and it looks like, hey, this is my speed. Because, like I said, I can't think of any editing suites out there right now that I would say, oh, stay away from that. Maybe, I don't even know if they make Windows Movie Maker anymore, but I would stay away from, I would stay away from that one. But all the rest of them, they're so good. I mean, there's so many great options to choose from. I love it. There was another question that came in, and then I'm going to read some tips from people, honey. Monkey Photo, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. Said, how large of an enlargement can you expect with an iPhone X? You're talking about enlarging the photo? Yeah. Very. Very. Poster size. Poster size. They're extremely good. Okay, so super high resolution, is that what that means? Okay, did I say that right? Oh my goodness. Okay, some good tips I want to read that I've seen you guys sharing. Julia Goes said she got a good camera and lenses from a pawn shop. Excellent. Night Audit said some of his best photos were taken with the Samsung 7 Edge. Yes, yes, yes. Smartphones these days are amazing. Do not overpack stuff, right? Tony said, learned this the hard way. Practice your file transfers and any shooting with new gear before your cruise. Save some frustration in the moment. Word. Word. Double nodding for me and the mister on that one. It's so true. You don't want to be miserable. Yeah, Joe Ellen, we'll try to get those in the comments for you. If not, we'll get them into the description. Thank you, Jennifer, for the kind words. We really, really appreciate you, and we're glad that you're here. This has been a really nice live stream. The chat's been kind of quiet, so we can hang out. I'm going to say it one more time, but if I have missed your question, please go ahead and retype it. We'll stick around and make sure that we get to you. Okay. Yeah, I know, Sarah. You really can't get away from the hours of editing. The editing is the hard part, right? It's so crazy when we get home from a cruise. I feel like the hard part happens for me on the cruise, and then the hard part happens for my husband when we get home, because he then literally enters into what is months of editing. It's not even like weeks or days, it's months. Yeah.
Wheezy shared a tip. I've had Sony cameras for 15 years. Point and shoot are brilliant and very easy to use. Yeah. Mel wants to know what are our main cameras. Mel, we use several different types of cameras. We both use our iPhones. We have newer iPhones. They're wonderful. We use GoPros. We use a GoPro Fusion and an Insta360 So we have a GoPro 6, GoPro 7, GoPro 5. And this is the Insta360, and then our main vlogging camera is the Sony RX100 or 1000.
Yeah, it's a Sony RX100 Mark VI.
Okay.
And now they have a couple of versions, and I would say that anything above the 4 is going to be very, very competitive for just kind of like a carry with you, throw in your pocket, get some great shots.
Okay.
I would add to that also that we have the Sony A7 III as our main. If we were doing an interview, we would use that as our main camera. And I often take the Sony A6500.
Those are big DSLRs, just so you guys know.
Mirrorless.
But
they call them
mirrorless.
Yeah.
But the RX100 is a small handheld camera. Yes, Jennifer, upgrade your camera, upgrade your phones. They're so worth it now. I think it's a good one. Rebecca wants a good GoPro knockoff. Rebecca, we recommend a brand called Yi.
You got it.
Y-I.
Good job.
I've been listening. Yeah, so check out Yi for your knockoff.
By the way, if it used to be, I would say 2 years ago, the GoPro knockoffs were pretty much garbage. I mean, just across the board garbage. But now it's hard to find one that's garbage. You find one that you're, you know, it'd be like $50 and you probably would be getting what you pay for. But now you can find very comparable models for hundreds less. But Yi makes good stuff, really good stuff.
Anne just shared probably one of the best tips of the whole day. Do you mind if I read it out loud? Anne Jordan said, good morning, CTTV fam. A great tip. Always back up your phone from Wi-Fi before you set up a new phone. There's nothing worse than losing all your data and phones. Yes, 100 times yes. So if you are an iCloud user, make sure that sucker is backing up on the regular, whatever it takes before you switch phones. On a related note, Anne, since you shared that amazing tip, one of the best tips that we have for people before they go on a cruise is to take your phone and get the pictures off of it, the pictures and images off. Get that sucker cleaned out and ready to receive new photos. Get everything transferred over to your desktop or into the cloud and off your phone. That's one of the best pieces of advice. So thank you, Anne, for making us think about that. Okay, Turtle Frog wants to know how you spell that. I'm not sure which one. Was it Yi? Y-I. Y-I for Yi. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions coming in. I think we're doing good. I think we have answered all of the questions today. I hope that this was something that everyone has enjoyed. I know that this was really different from the first episode that we did on the What's in My Camera Bag, so please remember that if you haven't seen that episode and you're just catching this one, go back and watch that and you can see pretty much every single item that's in Mr. Cruise Tips TV's camera bag. So we were going to see you again live sometime soon. We're going to be putting together our schedule for the next few weeks and we'll announce it to everybody before you know it. So stay tuned. Is there anything else you wanted to share, honey, before we sign off?
No, I think I would, well, yes. No, but yes. I just want to say thank you for everyone being so patient. You know, this is, you know, not something that's easy for me to do back here. I'm trying to do probably at least 6 things back here. And, you know, just thank you for being patient.
Yeah, in the cockpit.
He's
running the stream, he's switching between cameras, he's making sure the stream health is good, he's checking my audio, he's making sure I don't do anything bad. But it's a lot of fun and we appreciate all of you being here. Really liked the pace today, it was so nice. If I have missed your question, as usual, direct message me on Facebook and I will get to you. Thank you guys so much for being here day after day, week after week. We love you. And until next time, get in gear and get cruising. Bye-bye.
First mate of the week.